Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to predict the 2018 Critics' Choice Film Awards. We're just going to talk about the film stuff here. I know they have a lot of TV categories and stuff. Anyway, so they are tomorrow night, so we're going to go ahead and pick those. So we're going to go ahead and predict those tonight. We're not going to predict them. That doesn't make any sense. Okay, so we're going to start at the top, work our way down through the various categories here. We will go through some of the tech categories, like they have production design, cinematography, effects, those kind of things. We'll go through those too. Okay, so for the top award, Best Film by the Critics' Choice. Now, as you know, I'm still predicting Three Billboards for Best Picture at the Oscars, especially after the Globes win. Huge support from the Globes there. Got a lot of bids at BAFTA. It looks like it's in a good spot to get a DGA nomination tomorrow. It's doing okay at some of the guilds. It's not represented by every guild so far that I've read, but it's getting a little more love at the guilds than Lady Bird is at this point. Shape of Water, I think, is really dominating the guilds right now, and Get Out also doing very well with the guilds. So look out there for those. Maybe those will, they might have more support than we were originally thinking. When it comes to Oscar morning, we might get some surprise nominations for those. Anyway, so for Critics' Choice, though, I am not going with Three Billboards. I'm going with Lady Bird to win Best Picture here. I think just going by the critics' options here, really, there's very few people out there who don't at least admire Lady Bird. For me personally, I saw the film clear back in December, and it was gosh, I can't even think. It was early December, and I enjoyed it. There were definitely parts that made me laugh, and there were certainly parts that really, really entertained me. But I don't think it's the best film of the year. I don't think it's even in the top 10. So I'm kind of a little against the grain. Like I still, like it a lot, but it's definitely not one that I put on my top 10. It's not one that personally I'm rooting for as hard as say Three Billboards or Get Out or even Shape of Water, which I recently saw and enjoyed much more. So I'm going with Lady Bird there. They could go with Three Billboards just to line up with everybody else. I can also see Get Out being a big possibility here if they want to give that something. Shape of Water I've got in fourth place to win here. Let's see, and just to name off the other contenders here, there's also Call Me By Your Name, Dunkirk, The Post, The Big Sick, The Florida Project, and Darkest Hour. The other ones, I'm not thinking they have a chance here. So it's really down to those four. Shape of Water, Get Out, Three Billboards, and Lady Bird. And, for whatever reason, if Shape of Water does bounce back big time and starts to win everything else, like it wins PGA, it wins DGA, it wins it's up for 2 SAG awards, but if it gets at least Sally Hawkins a win there, and it cleans up at BAFTA, maybe then it kind of goes, and breaks the mold there. It's not nominated for SAG Ensemble. Man, if any film this year is going to do it, and go against that, code that's kind of stuck up for more than 20 years, probably Shape of Water is the best bet at this point. I don't see Dunkirk going all the way to Best Picture. Call Me By Your Name, I don't think has the support. The Post is really starting to disappoint with no BAFTA nominations. There's even a question if Spielberg will get in for DGA tomorrow. So yeah, that one's pretty much done, I think. So yeah, I'm picking Lady Bird here for Best Picture, but I think Get Out is definitely in competition here. Three Billboards is definitely in competition, and Shape of Water is in competition as well. For Best Director, I'm going with Guillermo del Toro, though, for The Shape of Water. It's a big way to award the film. Chris Nolan is in second place. He can definitely win here, too. Overall, I think the critical support for Shape of Water is a little stronger than it is for Dunkirk. Have to remember this is critics voting, and that's a lot of critics, not just LA, not just New York. It's like everybody across the country. But that being said, I also think there's an outside shot that Greta Gerwig could also pick this up, especially when we're seeing a year like this where it's kind of the big female ooh rah rah kind of support year. They could go as far as to give Greta Best Director here. I do think she will be nominated by DGA tomorrow as well. Yeah, for me tomorrow, I think it's Guillermo. I think it's Christopher Nolan, Greta Gerwig. I think it's Martin McDonagh for Three Billboards, and I think Jordan Peele will get a nomination for Get Out tomorrow for DGA. So Spielberg, I think, is just on the cusp. He could still make it in, obviously, and I think he would get in over Jordan Peele probably first. Then there's still possibility for somebody like Luca Guadagnino, who pulled off a director nomination at BAFTA. Denis Villeneuve is kind of an outside, kind of dark horse contender for Blade Runner. There's also Dee Reese and Sean Baker that are also possibilities for DGA, but in the meantime here, I think Critics' Choice, it does come down to Guillermo, Christopher Nolan, or Greta Gerwig, which I think as long as Greta doesn't win the DGA, if that happens, then she's got the Oscar too. But if she does not win DGA and it's Guillermo or Christopher Nolan, I think it comes down to one of those two at the Oscars. Okay, we'll move on now to Best Actor. I'm going against the grain here. I'm picking Timothée Chalamet to pick this one up. Darkest Hour, Gary Oldman's performance is definitely very critically lauded. Definitely, he's the Oscar frontrunner at this stage. He just won the Globe. He's likely to win BAFTA. He's likely to win the SAG as well, so he's likely to just clean up here. But Timothée has won all sorts of Best Actor prizes among the little critics groups here and there. And little, I mean by some of the other ones, but it's like New York he won, L.A. I believe he won, both of those. So he's got a lot of support here. Plus, it's Call Me by Your Name, a chance to award that film in a big category, and it's also much more critically appreciated than Darkest Hour, which has some detractors. So I'm going with Timothée in an upset for this one. Really, it's just him or Gary at this rate, and I think they'll. I don't know. I think they have a soft spot for Timothée Chalamet. So, and critics, unlike, say, the Oscars or SAG, SAG and the Oscars, they tend to do kind of the more older performances for Best Actor, the more mature performances, the actors who've been around for a while and have paid their dues and stuff. And Timothée, being only, I think, 22 years old, 21, 22, something like that. I think he's got a little ways to go from that perspective, but this is definitely a great launching pad performance for him. So I think he will win Critics' Choice. All right, moving on to Best Actress. This is going to be a three-sided coin flip, if we can do it that way, between Frances McDormand, Saoirse Ronan, and Sally Hawkins. I think the same goes for the Oscar, the same goes for SAG, and they're also all three nominated at BAFTA, too. But I think it is Frances McDormand who wins here. Since I don't have Three Billboards winning Best Film, this is a way to award it. Lady Bird, if I believe it does win Best Film, I think it's definitely a great performance, but Frances is the more showy performance, the more yelly performance, the more defiant performance. But then again, you have Sally Hawkins, who kind of has the disability performance, being a mute and having to do the sign language and stuff. And her film Shape of Water, I think, wins director. So if they want to give it more than that here in the top categories, that's the chance to do it. So it comes down to one of those three. But I'll go with Frances on this one. And she just won the Globe, give a very, very, very good speech at the Globes. So I think she's in good company there for sure. But I think she wins that one. Best Supporting Actor. Oh, man. After Sam Rockwell won the Globe, Sam Rockwell could just go on to win every other supporting actor award this year, despite the fact that he won maybe one or two critics groups prizes for supporting actor. The rest of them, pretty much in a sweep, went to Willem Dafoe. So, if it's not Rockwell, I think they go with Willem Dafoe, and he is my pick, by the way, Willem Dafoe here. Because it is kind of like I've been saying here in the past couple categories, it's a way to award the Florida Project. It's also up for Best Film, which means they do like it quite a bit. There are definitely detractors on the film, but almost all of the detractors still have good things to say about Willem Dafoe, and he's of these nominees here, I've seen all of them. Gosh, I mean, because you look at the rest of the category, it's him, Sam Rockwell, Armie Hammer for Call Me by Your Name, Michael Stuhlbarg is also nominated here for Call Me by Your Name, Patrick Stewart for Logan, and Richard Jenkins for The Shape of Water. Let's see, if we go, for me personally, I think Patrick Stewart's the least favorite performance of mine. Probably then Stuhlbarg, even though his final speech is just phenomenal. Probably then Armie Hammer next, and then Jenkins. Gosh, but Sam and Willem both are phenomenal, but I think I prefer Willem's performance. So I'm kind of voting with my heart here too with that, and I do think Willem picked up enough critics prizes. I think he will win here as well. But if it's not him, it's definitely Sam Rockwell. And Sam takes him down here, if he does, I think he's pretty much gonna sweep everything else out from under him for everything going forward. Okay, supporting actress. This is gonna be close. I think I mentioned it the other day, but I think this one does go to Laurie Metcalf for Lady Bird. It's another way to award the film. And again, Laurie has won a lot of critics' prizes for her performance in Lady Bird. Allison Janney is definitely hot on our trails, though, especially after winning the Globe. I'm sticking with my bet that I placed earlier after the Globes that Allison will also go on to win SAG, but I think Critics' Choice goes to Laurie Metcalf here. The rest of the nominees in the category I don't think are gonna pose much of a threat. But yeah, it's these two going forward. And I like my odds on Laurie on this one. Okay, original screenplay. This is a very tight category here. It's going to be at the Oscars too. It's between Get Out, Lady Bird, and Three Billboards. I'm going with Get Out. I'm going with Get Out on this one. I think Get Out is a liked enough film. It's up for best film, up for best director and best actor and stuff. I think they want to give it something in a big category like this. So screenplay, I think, is the way they're going to go. If they don't go for film, I don't think they'll go for director or actor. But I think it wins here. Lady Bird is my second place pick, and Three Billboards my third place pick. Um, Now I'm planning on doing this later, not tonight, not I don't know when I'm gonna do it, but I'm really getting pissed off at this whole woke Twitter bullshit that's going on. It's almost as bad as Oscars So White, which was plagued us a few years ago. But it's such a, I mean, if I can just kind of lay it down here just for a second, it is such a fucking mess because it's almost like all these hoity-toity people on Twitter. Some of them are celebrities who have thousands, if not millions, of followers. Some of them are just some really pretentious critics who I don't particularly enjoy. Um, but there's this sense that they're metaphorically holding guns to the voters, Academy voters' heads, and saying, if you don't pick this, then you're not relevant. You're a racist. You're a bigot. You're you're against feminists. You're against this. You're against that. And it's such fucking horseshit that I want to shut these people down. I want to get them off Twitter. I want this whole fucking mess to stop because it's really pissing me off. And I'm not just saying this because, a lot of these people are saying all this stuff about Three Billboards and stuff, but they're also saying it about The Post. They're saying about Shape of Water. They're saying against any other films too. And it's between, and there's such, and obviously I get, if they love Get Out and they like Lady Bird more than these other films, that's one thing. And they have a right to definitely give their opinion for that. But to, just to spread so much bullshit around and to just, like I said, metaphorically, they're pretty much, threatening Academy voters through Twitter. And, I'm not saying every Academy voter goes on Twitter and sees these, but to all those people, shut the fuck up. Don't do this. Yeah, it's such bullying that I cannot believe that it goes on, and that some people even support it. It's ridiculous. So I don't know. I might do an editorial on that later, but I don't know. For now, I just want to say it's really pissing me off. And I feel, now that I'm seeing it again this year, I kind of want to go back. Because if you go back to last year's thing where I did it was the follow up after the Best Picture scandal thing, we went through it. And I had a lot of things to say about how I thought Moonlight's win for Best Picture was really, how do I want to phrase this? It was kind of like it was pressured on and um, kind of accelerated by the fact that it was kind of like in 2013 when there was this kind of movement around going, hey, if you don't vote for this film, you're a racist, or in the case of Moonlight, you're a racist and a homophobe. And I feel at first that was just something that was going around Hollywood and stuff, but then I realized, wait a minute, that all that shit was on Twitter too. So I think, if I can detract a little bit, retrospectively from what I said there, I think it was less, face to face communication. I think it was more just some Academy voters going on Twitter and seeing that shit and really influencing the votes. And I think I mean, I'm not saying that's exactly what happened. I mean, I don't know for sure. But I just get that feeling that that's, a part of what went down. And and all these people, these same people are saying the same thing. Oh, Harvey back when Harvey Weinstein is who I'm talking about here. back in the day when he was really encouraging all these people to vote for his movies and he was financing his movies and all this stuff and he was, doing all these tactics and stuff. Well, what the fuck are you doing? You're using the same goddamn tactics against all these other movies just to support a couple movies you love a little more. Or, maybe you hate the other movies, doesn't matter. But you're doing the same fucking thing, you hypocrites. Don't do it. Just quit it right now. Stop it. Seriously. So, if I can get off my soapbox for a minute there. Yeah, it's really a frustrating thing. And seriously, I think that Academy voters shouldn't listen to that. They shouldn't have to put up with that shit. They should just vote with their minds and vote with their hearts and not have to worry about people outing them if they don't vote for Lady Bird or Get Out, or if they are people who really, really love Three Billboards and say if you don't vote for it doesn't matter what film you're supporting. It's just right now I'm seeing it's more of the love for Get Out, more of the love for Lady Bird than anything else this year. Call Me by Your Name is also one they're mentioning there that they really love, and it's like if you don't vote for it, then you're a homophobe. I'm hearing that less so than the Get Out and Lady Bird stuff. But it's just such a a stinky, awful way to encourage votes for those movies that I don't think it's fair. I think that whoever does it should get barred from Twitter for a little bit or something, or be permanently blocked for some of these people. It is just such a shit show. Anyway, so that okay, yeah. Now that I've said that, let's move on here. Adapted screenplay. I think this Call Me by Your Name. Done. That's gonna win. Okay, they do have an ensemble prize here at Critics' Choice, and I don't know what to do with this category. I have the Post winning, but not confidently because it wasn't even a SAG nominee for Outstanding Cast. I have Three Billboards in second place, Mudbound in third place, Lady Bird in fourth, Dunkirk is the fifth nominee. I don't think that one has a chance in hell. But those other four, I think, all have solid possibilities to be nominated, to win this ensemble award. So, Lady Bird is up at SAG, Mudbound's up at SAG, and Three Billboards also up at SAG. So it's got support there. Of course, that's actors voting there, but it's critics voting here. So I think those three, since they are included, are possibilities. We saw that Ensemble last year, I think, went to Moonlight, and that was a film that did not win Best Film or Director or any of those other big awards except for Supporting Actor. I don't think it won Did it win Adapted Screenplay too? Maybe. I thought they gave it to Arrival or something like that. I could be wrong. I might double check that in the meantime here. But they gave the ensemble prize to a film that wasn't really deep into conversations for some of the other top prizes. So I think that's why they go with the Post here to give that something. And I think there's enough critics that do like the movie that they'll give it to that. Okay, animated feature, Coco. Done. Okay, foreign film. This one, there's a few possibilities here. I have it going to Beats Per Minute, BPM, which is really the one that critics that I follow on Twitter and that I've seen on Twitter and just through various other sites here. That's the one they won't shut up about. So I'll go with that one. I have a Fantastic Woman in second place here. First They Killed My Father in third. Since that one's on Netflix, right? I think that's the Angelina Jolie, if I can talk. That one, and then In the Fade I have in fourth place. That did just win the Globe, so I think it's an outside possibility, but I think it's BPM. Okay, cinematography, Blade Runner, done. Costume design, I think they go with Phantom Thread on this one. It's up against Shape of Water and Beauty and the Beast. I think those are the only two other ones that can win. Beauty and the Beast, I think, wins the Oscar at this rate for costume design. But since Beauty and the Beast has a lot of haters out there among the critics, I think that one will not win. Shape of Water, being a period piece, I think it picks up production design here. But and costumes could also go along for the ride if they want to do kind of a mini tech category sweep for Shape of Water. But I think this one they'll go for Phantom Thread and give that film something. Okay, for best editing, I think this goes to Dunkirk. Really, Baby Driver, I think there's a lot of critics that have a really sweet spot for Baby Driver. So this one, I think, does have a possibility to win. The Post, I think, it's Michael Kahn, Spielberg's usual editor, so I think they like him. And then Shape of Water, I think, also has a shot here. and Blade Runner 2049 is the other nominee. I think its chances are pretty 50-50 if it's going to get in at the Oscars too, but at least it was recognized here. So I would say probably other than Blade Runner, I think the other four are all they all have a horse in the race here. So we'll see what happens on that. That one I think comes down to probably Dunkirk's the easy bet, but they could go a different number of ways on that one. Okay, for makeup and hair, I think this goes to Darkest Hour. I think Darkest Hour, as long as it gets nominated by the Oscars, they always do stupid things in that category. I think it wins here too. Wonder, I think, is a strong second place though. Wonder, there's definitely some critics who don't like it. I saw the film; it was really, really predictable, and it wasn't one of my favorites. I still gave it a positive review, mainly because the performances were pretty good. The screenplay had some strong moments, so there's more to like about it than to dislike. But the makeup job was still really damn good on that movie, so I think that's in second place here. So it's one of those two, though. I think they'll go with Darkest Hour on that one, though. Okay, for original score, I think this goes to Shape of Water. I can see Desplat just winning every other score prize after this, and going forward. They do like Johnny Greenwood, though. He's picked up a few prizes. Some critics groups do have an original score um, a category at their different award shows, and I've seen Phantom Thread has picked up a couple of those. Desplat has also picked up a couple of those. Blade Runner, I think I saw one or two. Uh, yeah, and Dunkirk is also nominated here. I don't think it goes to Dunkirk though. So I think it's either Shape of Water or Phantom Thread, but I think safe bets on Shape of Water there. Original song, I think this goes to Remember Me from Coco. But I think, again, there's a possibility they go with Call Me By Your Name here for Mystery of Love. Now, personally, I haven't seen Coco yet, but Mystery of Love, great song, though. Even though it's kind of used sporadically through the film, it's a good song, so they could go with it. Production design, I think they go with Shape of Water here. Blade Runner is close, though. Blade Runner being the futuristic stuff and all that. They could give it to Blade Runner to give Blade Runner something other than cinematography. Otherwise, I think it's one of those two for this category. All right, moving on. Visual effects is the last category here, and I think they'll probably go with War for the Planet of the Apes here. But that being said, there are a few other contenders in the category to think about. Blade Runner and Shape of Water are also in this race too. I think it comes down to one of these three. Blade Runner could go for it. If Blade Runner wins, say, production design, cinematography, they could also give it visual effects. In a kind of a mini sweep of the tech categories here. Shape of Water also, I think, with production design and as a possibility. And score and maybe costume. So again, that could be a mini tech sweep there. But I think they'll go with War because it is such a substantial job by the special effects team there, and plus, it's a way to award the trilogy too. Kind of, not that it is like the new Lord of the Rings of the Oscars or anything, but it's such a thing where I don't believe, I might double check this, but I don't think that any of the Planet of the Apes movies in this new trilogy has ever won the visual effects award here at Critics' Choice. I know that the other two films were nominated at the Oscars and lost, but this I don't know about Critics' Choice. I'll double check that one, but for now, I think War for the Planet of the Apes wins this one. All right. I think that's all I've got for now. So hopefully you enjoyed my little mini rant there. But seriously, all these Twitter people just need to shut the fuck up and stop trying to threaten Academy voters. It's serious bullshit. It should be treated seriously, and I think these people should be held accountable for their actions. And yeah, some of these people are known people too that have been around the block a while and who criticize Weinstein and the other campaigners who work, who worked, sometimes to unfair treatments and unfair circumstances. But what the fuck are you doing? You're doing the exact same goddamn motherfucking thing, and you think you can get away with it. You think you're doing the good, fighting the good fight and doing all this bullshit. No. You've got it dead wrong. And I don't think that you should try to be influencing the vote here in this way. Now, obviously, sharing your opinions on Twitter is one thing, and I encourage that. I think that's something that should be continued to be done. But threatening people over Twitter and oh, there went my lights again. I hate when this happens. Anyways, let me try to fix this quick. There they come back. All right. Well, I will keep that in just to. I don't know. It's too late to edit that out. Anyway, so yeah, but seriously, if I can go back to the Twitter thing for one last goddamn second here, this is seriously this trounces the Oscar so white thing for me. It's just such I don't know. I sometimes just fail to have words for it. It's just God. I mean, Twitter as a whole is a problem. So, but seriously, I mean, they're not threatening any individual Academy members. I think if that happened, I think somebody would, we'd see bigger consequences. But for now, it's just some people just at large threatening the Academy, saying vote for this or else, and it's I think that is what happened, a little bit with Moonlight last year, where there was such a movement for that thing to do well that and for me personally, like I said, a personal opinion to me, sure, I'll say Three Billboards is the best film of the year. Get Out is my second favorite film of the year. Lady Bird is close to my top 10. It's not in the top 10, but it's close. It's probably in the top 15 at this rate. I don't hate any of these movies that they're really going for. And especially for me, Get Out was my favorite film of the year up until Three Billboards. And that was like a whole, what was it, almost 9 months, a full 9 months, where I was like, this movie is the best movie of the year. I don't know how it's going to be topped, but Three Billboards did it, for me at least. And I get, obviously, like I said, personal opinion is one thing. If you want to go out and say Three Billboards is a disaster, that it has racist elements to it, that it has bigotry elements to it, that it doesn't fully resolve some of its conflicts, that it's a messy story, that it's misguided, it's unfocused, and all that stuff. That's obviously there's a place to say that, and you know what? I get your opinion, and I can see where you're coming to those conclusions. But for me personally, I thought the whole package was great, and for me, the whole film was not about racists. It wasn't about bigotry. It was about Frances McDormand's character and her getting justice for her daughter, and it didn't matter. It didn't matter how much or how little they paid attention to the racist bigotry elements of it. Sure, that's a part of the story, and that was McDonagh's choice to include that. But it also, and kind of some mini spoilers for the film here if you haven't seen it yet. But Rockwell, his decision to come around, doesn't matter, the bigotry and stuff, and all the racist stuff with his character. It was a big turnaround for his character when by the end, didn't matter. Didn't matter who was around him. And the fact that African Americans helped him, and his enemy in the film by Caleb Landry Jones, or whatever his name is, Landry, I think it's Landry. Sorry, the fact that his friend was able to forgive him, and that the two African American the couple that were in the bar there in that last, or one of the last scenes toward the end of the movie, that they were there to help him. He knew that, he accepted it, and we don't need to see a 5 fucking minute scene where he goes and gives a big speech and says, "Oh, forgive me, I'm sorry, guys. I'm glad you helped me." You don't need that. If you sum that up in one shot or one sequence, like McDonagh did, and the editor, I don't know the editor, like the editor did, that's fine. And I felt like it worked. I got what he was going for. And again, he's a supporting character in the movie. It is not revolving around the Sam Rockwell character. Why are you making such a big deal about it? Why? He's not the main character. Focus on Frances McDormand. That's your star. It's your lead performer. That's the person that the whole story revolves around. Don't forget what the title of the movie is. It's called Three fucking Billboards Outside fucking Ebbing, Missouri. Not Racist Cop Goes Around and Gets Redeemed in a Horrible Subplot. That's not the name of your movie. Okay. I think we're going to call it there before I have a panic attack or something. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, if you are, I don't know if I'm talking to anybody who does this on Twitter, I doubt it, but if you are one of those people, seriously, take a good fucking look in the mirror and realize what the fuck you're doing is just as bad, if not worse, than what the biggest monster in Hollywood for a good 2 decades, Harvey Weinstein. What you're doing is worse than what he did. He physically did not go around, sorry, I shouldn't say physically. He didn't mentally go around to Academy voters and you metaphorically hold a gun to their head and say, if you don't vote for my movie, the movie that I love, the movie that I support so much, and say, if you don't vote for this, you don't count. I'm going to out you. All this other stuff. Oh my God. It just pisses me off so much. And I seriously want it to stop. If it doesn't stop, then I don't know. It seriously makes me so angry and so uh, makes me feel so terrible that you have movies that are being overlooked, and that there's a lot of hard work that's being overlooked, and a lot of bad stuff that goes down here. And you have movies like, sure, Lady Bird for me was not my personal favorite, but if you want to go and support the movie, I'm not going to laugh at you. I'm not going to point at you. I'm not going to say you're wrong for liking the movie. No, not at all. Same goes with Get Out. I'm with you on the movie. I love it to death. I love it to tears. I think it's one of the best films of the year. It's one of the best American films made in probably the past 20 years. One of the best, maybe not the best, but one of the best. And it's certainly the best horror film I've seen. God, I don't know how far back I have to go for that. The best horror film I've probably seen, God, I don't know. Do I have to go all the way back to like Silence of the Lambs or something like that? It's so damn good. And it doesn't need people going around on Twitter saying if you don't vote for it, you're obviously racist. Lady Bird does not need your help. Lady Bird has gotten tons of support from other critics, tons of support from many guilds and many other critics organization, awards organizations. It doesn't need your fucking help. Doesn't need your goddamn stupid-headed bullshit and threats. It doesn't need it. And personally, if you're Jordan Peele, you're Greta Gerwig, I'm sure you don't want it either, because that makes you look bad. If you have all these people that are supporting your movie and doing it in such a shameful way, it makes you look bad too. Just think about that for a minute. Think about it. All you people who are doing this shit. You're really making your idols, your Jordan Peeles and your Greta Gerwigs, you're making them look terrible. You are. Bottom line. All right. All right, I'm good. Critics' Choice tomorrow. No live reactions. I'll just do a follow-up. I'll probably just save it till Friday. The Critics' Choice, they go on forever and ever sometimes. So we'll get to that when we get to it. But I will do kind of a follow-up once those are all done. All right, until then, I'm going to cool down a little bit, and we'll catch you guys next time.